I'm Andrea Butzler. I'm the instructional tech at the high school. And we also have Vanessa Whittle. She is the instructional tech at the middle school. This is for 6th through 12th grade parents, although we do know that the 6th grade center uses Canvas just a little bit different than how we use it at the middle school and the high school, mainly because they're standards-based grading. But a lot of what you're going to see here today, if you have a 6th grader, is going to apply to 6th grade as well as middle school and then high school when they're with us here. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you that just joined, we are looking at Canvas. For parents, we're going to look first at the web version of Canvas, which looks a lot like what your students see when they log into Canvas on their Chromebooks. And then Ms. Whittle will give you some more insight into the Canvas app that you might already have installed on your phone or device at home. Okay, now I will briefly just kind of go over how to sign up for the Canvas parent portal and how to get a student pairing code. But those are things that if you do struggle with those, you are welcome to call either the middle school or the high school. They can put you in contact with one of us and we can walk you through that. So a lot of what we're gonna assume right now is that you might already have access to the parent portal and you're wanting to learn more about it. But if you don't have access to the parent portal yet, you can go to our website, which you should see on your screen. It's waynesville.k12.mo.us, and this is the district website. If you click on parents and students in the black header at the top of the screen, you're going to see plenty of different things that you can access here on this page. But one of the things that I want to point your attention out to is the Canvas Pairing for Students page. And there are 2 step sheets on this page. One of them goes through how to download and set up the app on your phone. And the other goes through how to have your student create a pairing code. And so I'm going to show the pairing code step sheet here now, just so you can see. In order to pair with your student in Canvas, you first have to have a parent login, and then you're going to have your student log in on their Chromebook to their Canvas account. They'll go to their account and their settings, and there will be a button that looks like this that says pair with observer. And from there, they're going to be able to provide you, or you can get this from their computer. It's a 6-digit alphanumeric code. It is case sensitive, and you put this in on your app and it links you with your student. So again, I know that was a pretty quick rundown, but that's something that we can also help you with individually. If you need to contact us by email or give the building a call, we can hook you up with a parent pairing code if you need one. Okay. Going back to our parents and student resource page on the website, there is a link for the Canvas parent portal, and this would take you to the web version of Canvas. You're going to click parent login, and I'm actually using my parent login here. I've linked with a demo student for the purpose of this Zoom. If you are new to Canvas, you're going to want to click here and sign up for an account, and again, put that pairing code in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. And just as students see when they get to Canvas, the first thing you're going to see is a dashboard. If you have multiple students in the district or that are using Canvas, this drop down would allow you to add more students via another pairing code, and then also switch between students if you have multiple middle school or high school students. The layout of the dashboard is basically showing you the classes that they are currently enrolled in. There is different ways that you can view the dashboard, and those can be switched over by clicking the 3-dot menu here. I'm in card view right now, which is really the view that I would recommend for you. I think it's the easiest to access each of those courses individually. And probably swiftly. List view gives you a list of just things that are going on in each of those classes, like due dates and announcements. And then, oh, I lost my button over here. Give me just a second. And then if I switch to recent activity, it really is just a list of recent activity, and it's not all of that informative typically. So I would recommend that you stay on card view. The to-do list that's populated over here on the right is from all of the students' courses, and each different to-do item is designated by an icon. Anytime you see this notebook pencil icon here, that's an assignment. This is a Canvas quiz with the rocket ship. And then you may see some icons designated with the bullhorn or the discussion icon. So these are just different symbols that Canvas uses to designate what type of activity that was. There's also recent feedback that's available on the dashboard. So this would be recent scores or feedback that teachers have typed in and left comments on work. And then there is a view grades button. Students have something very similar on their view. And so when you click view grades, you can see a percentage grade for each of those courses. And then you can click this link to get into each of those courses there. So that's just one of the ways to view grades in Canvas, is from that screen. So going back to the dashboard, I'm just going to click into one of these classes and kind of give you an idea of how they're laid out. Each Canvas course might be a little bit different, but from the middle school to the high school, a majority of our teachers have either a homepage that has links, or they are using a homepage that's organized into modules. And so when we say modules, we're looking at just a unit that's organized with a heading, like what you see on the screen, and then the content is posted below it. Also, on most of the home pages, you're going to see the most recent announcements that teachers have posted. And we're going to show you notifications here in a little bit. Announcements is what will come through in your email. So most of the time when a teacher posts an announcement, that's what you're getting emails on if you are signed up for the Canvas Parent Portal. From here, definitely with the web version, you can get a lot more detail on assignments than what you might get from the app. And so if I were to just click on one of these assignments, I'm pretty much seeing as the parent what my student sees. And so I can see the directions that the teacher posted, as well as any links to content or to the assignments. And so it's laid out pretty familiar, or in a pretty easy format to follow. There's also the grades button in each course. And so when I go into the course and I click grades, this is going to give me a more detailed view of the grades for that course, the assignments that were posted, and how my students scored. And so I would be able to look through a full listing for each course and see how that they were doing. In both the middle school and the high school, I know sixth grade's a little bit different because of standards-based grading, but at the high school, for a majority of our courses, they run where the formatives are counting as 40% of the grade, and summative assessments are counting as 60% of the grade. So that's why you would see two grades here. It's just breaking those down into those different types of assessments. Formative, when you think of that, you're thinking of quizzes, daily assignments, things that students are doing during instruction in a unit. And then the summative, those are like the tests. Those are what students are doing in class to show that they understand the material. And so that's why it's weighted at a higher percentage to then equal that total percent of the grade. All of these different links over here should work when you're on the web version. And like I said earlier, it really just gives you a more detailed view than maybe what you're going to see on the app. There are a couple things that I want to point out and maybe give you some recommendations on if you are a parent trying to get the most out of Canvas. I would absolutely recommend using the calendar, and we encourage students to do this as well. Just because on any given day, you can open up your Canvas calendar and see what assignments are due on that day. You can see over here on the right-hand side, there's a calendar that the student or the user has, as well as a calendar for each of the different courses that the students enrolled in. And I can toggle these on and off. So if I just wanted to look at my science class and what assignments were due in the month of October, I can turn on and just look at science. And so leaving them all on gives you maybe a better indicator of what your student has going on any given day in their classes. Okay, another handy feature is the inbox. to message teachers and parents. And I just want to point out that to message teachers if you're a parent, just want to point out when you go to compose a message, you actually don't have to know the teacher's name. And so if you just select a course or click your favorite courses, it will pull up for you who the teachers are in that course. So you can select them and be able to send them a message if you need to. The only student you probably have available is your own student. So of course, you're probably not sending them Canvas messages, but I just wanted to point that out. You can only email or send an inbox message to the teacher. Okay, and then something else to point out. I'm going to go up here to the account button and click on notifications. This is something that we often get questions about. Maybe you're getting too many notifications, or maybe you're not getting enough. So from this screen, in Canvas, you can actually go down through this list and decide what you want to receive, either weekly summaries for, daily summaries for, or whether you want to be notified immediately of something. And so a couple things that I would recommend here is that if you have multiple students that are using Canvas and that you're observing them for, turn this on. And I don't know if this is available in the app, but it is available on the web. Just show the name of the observed student in notifications. So that way, when you do get a notification, you're going to know which student it's for. Another thing I would recommend is to turn this on. By default, this is turned off. And so this would include scores when you get an email about grades. So you wouldn't then have to go to Canvas to see the grade itself. It would already be included in that email. So it just might make it a little bit more handier for you. A lot of the times, parents are going to mainly want to receive notifications on grading and due dates, and you might choose to turn off some of these other notifications if you're getting too many. And so you just click that, and then you can turn off notifications on anything that you really don't need to see an email for. So there are lots of options on that screen. We do encourage you to go through and check your notifications to see what you want to be informed on and what you don't. And then this caveat here is important, that you're going to get your daily notifications around 6 p.m. and weekly notifications will come in on generally Saturday evening. So just a time that you can be aware of when those emails are coming through. This courses button over here, this is just a way for me to get from class to class without having to go back to the dashboard. And then you also may notice on the parent version of Canvas, you will see a mastery button, but it is normal that it does not take you anywhere. Mastery is something that our teachers and students use just for assessment purposes. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers the web. Are there any questions about the website that I can answer right now?
We did have one parent ask a question.
Sure.
About the credentials. The credentials for the app and for the website are the same. So you don't need to have a totally separate account for that. And once you have paired with your student, either on the app or on the website, you are already paired with them. You do not need to generate a new code for the app versus the website. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the app. So I'm going to need to share I'm actually using an iPad, but the mobile app for Canvas is called Canvas Parent. So if you are using the Canvas Student app, that's going to work a little differently. The Canvas Parent app is actually designed to work with your parent credentials and will not work correctly if you're trying to sign into the student app with your parent credentials. So make sure we're looking at the Canvas Parent app, which is a blue Canvas logo. So the blue logo there is the Canvas Parent app. So I'm going to work through several different bits of the app here. First of all, I'm going to switch to a different student. So on this home screen, normally when you first get to your Canvas app, whatever student you were looking at last, and you can see I have two students. I will point out that neither of these are actually students. One of them is our demo student, and the other one is a teacher in the district who is pretending to be a student for me. So we're not showing any actual student grades here. So I'm going to start with my demo student. And you can see when I first open my Canvas app, you'll see a list of that student's classes with a quick glimpse of what their current grade is in that class. From here, I want to point out but next to where it says the demo student's name, there's an arrow that you can click. This is how you can navigate or toggle between your 2 or 3 or however many students you have, or you can add an additional student. Say if you have a child moving up from the 5th grade to the 6th grade and you need to add them to your Canvas. So you can always add students here. I'm going to point out down at the bottom, you see 3 buttons or icons. One is for courses. That's the one we're currently on. The other one is calendar, and the third one is alerts. And I'm going to go through each of those separately after I go through the courses. All right, I'm going to start up here with the 3 lines in the top left. That's the menu. And I would like to start by showing you that, first of all, you have access to the inbox that Mrs. Butzler was just showing you as well, where you can message teachers. So if I click on inbox from the menu, I'm going to be taken to any messages that might be in my inbox. Obviously, I don't have any here. Back to this 3-line menu in the top left. I want to point out manage students, and I feel that this is one of the more useful areas of the app as far as you being notified of things relating to your student. So I'm going to click on manage students. I will see here a list of the students I'm currently paired with, and then there's a plus button in the top right if I need to add another student, and I would need a pairing code to add my additional students. And then I can click on at the demo student. At the very far right of the line is an arrow for me to add more options. When I get to this page, I can determine what kind of app alerts. And so this is a different thing than the email notifications that Mrs. Butzler was talking about. The app notifications give you an alert within the app based on these settings. So if you want to be alerted when your student gets a grade above, you can select that there. Maybe you want to know when they get a really awesome grade on an assignment. You want to be alerted when they receive a course grade below. So maybe you've got depending on your student and you know what kinds of things you'd like to see from them. Maybe you'd like to know when their course grade falls below an 80%. You can turn on a notification or an alert if they have a missing assignment. So those are the course grades and the missing assignment. Now we're looking at assignment specific grades. Do you want to know every time they get an assignment score above a 90? Or do you want to know every time they get an assignment grade below a 60? So you can set these things. Do you want to receive alerts for course announcements? Do you want to receive alerts for institution announcements? And you can customize this for each of your students. So perhaps you have one of your 2 students who struggles more and you'd like to know when they receive a course grade below a 70. And then for your other student, perhaps you want it at 80. So this can be customized per student depending on what your child's particular struggles or strengths are. And then after you have these all set, you can use the manage students to go back to that previous screen. And then you can go on to your next student. And I've already actually set some for my other student here. Okay. So you can actually determine which alerts you get on which student based on whatever expectations it is that you have as far as when you would like to know. All right, so I am on my demo student now. I'm going to point out a couple more things on the menu. You can also switch to dark mode if you prefer that for your phone, and this is where you would go to log out of your app. All right, on my demo student here, I am looking at the courses screen, and looking at the preview of the grades I have here, I'm going to take a look in my social studies class where I see that my student has a 37%. When you first open the course, you'll be taken immediately to the page where the grades are listed. What you're going to see here are several things. First of all, you see a gray line or a gray header separating the sections with the total grade at the top. There's a pretest category here. I would like to note that some teachers do use a pretest category and that anything you see in that category is not actually going to be counting toward your student's grade. Pretests are set at 0% of a student's grade, and at the middle school, we use formatives and summatives, each at 50% of the student's grade. So as I'm scrolling through here, you'll see a few things that I like to point out. Under each assignment heading or assignment title, you'll see the due date, if there is one. You can see that my Canva demo has a due date of October 24th. The reading choice, summary choice has no due date. Scrolling on down into my formative section, I've got some due dates ranging from August to September and October. So there's a lot of different due dates. And then under the due date is a bit of information that includes whether or not your student submitted the assignment, if it's missing, or if it was submitted late. So you see 4 different types of things there. One says not submitted, one says missing, one says submitted, and that's in green. Missing will be in red, and late is also in red. And then the scores, of course, are on the far right end of the line showing that assignment. I will point out here that if you see one that says late and your student still has a 0 showing in the app, it could be that your student submitted it late and the teacher hasn't gotten to grade it yet. So that's why the grade isn't changed. You'll also see a little icon in front of each assignment. So Canva Demo has a notebook with a pencil. The WWF has a little electric outlet looking symbol. Those are just the different types of assignments and the way the students submit them. One is an assignment, the other is an external tool. Sometimes you'll see a symbol for quizzes. Each of these can actually be clicked on. So if I wanted to see what my student was doing with the Canva demo, for example, I could click on that and see a description of the assignment and get an idea of maybe what my student was supposed to be doing. Within this assignment, I can also turn on a notification here. If this is an upcoming due date and it's worth a lot of points and I want to make sure my student is on track, I can turn this button on here and allow the Canvas parent app to send me notifications, and I can be notified that this assignment is coming up near the due date. So each of these assignments have that option. You also see that appeared down in the bottom, a little message bubble, a little purple circle in the bottom right. If I click that, this will link to my inbox and allow me to directly message the teacher about this specific assignment without having to search through your inbox and looking for the correct teacher. Okay, I'm going to go back. You'll also notice that purple circle is at the bottom of the grades page. So you can also click there and this will open your inbox just to allow you to send a general message about your students' grades. All right, and I believe that's everything that I would want to say specifically about the grades. You might see a front page tab at the top of your grades page if your student's teacher is using a front page for their course. That's really just a menu of what the home page looks like. But the most important information for you as a parent will be looking at these grades. You can still get an idea of what the assignments are, whether they've been submitted or if they're late. All right, I'm going to go back to my main screen here. Down at the bottom, you see that you also have the calendar available in the app. So I'm going to click on the calendar. Just under the purple header bar, you see the word calendars. If we click that, so right above the Saturday on this, you can determine which calendars you actually want to see. So maybe you don't want to see the WHS technology, or maybe you do. You can turn those off and on here. It's going to show the current week view, but if you want it to show more, you're just going to touch it and pull it down so you're looking at the whole month's view. And then the number of dots that you see under each day is showing you how many assignments are due. So you can see on October 4th, today my student has a closed reading passage because it has a dot under it, and then down toward the bottom of the page, you see a list of the assignments. I'm going to switch to the 5th, and I will see that my student has 3 assignments due tomorrow. And so for each of these dates that has the dots under it, your student would have something due that day. And keep in mind, right now, we're just looking at demo student. If I wanted to switch back and forth to my other student, I could bring down that menu from the top and select my other student. The final thing on here at the bottom is the alerts. And right now for demo student, I don't have any alerts. Remember, I just turned those on a few minutes ago. But I'm going to switch over to my Allison student, and I received 2 alerts on assignment grades. And again, this is not a real student. I set this up to intentionally do this so you can see how it works. So I can receive alerts about when my student receives an assignment grade below a certain percentage, whatever you have determined that to be. So the app is something that you can get a lot of information from very quickly in one place and easily navigate between your students.
Okay, are there any other questions or anything that we can help you with? You're also free to reach out to us. Again, I'm Andrea Butzler. I'm at the high school, and Vanessa Whittle is at the middle school. If we have any sixth grade parents, we will definitely point you in the right direction if you get in contact with us and there's a question that we cannot answer for you. All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining.